Before you take a DNA test, you have to be willing to accept whatever it is that DNA test may tell you. We'll get into a story about that in just a bit. But first, I was my daughter's +1 to prom, and nobody knew. My daughter is 17. She's autistic and doesn't have a lot of close friends. When prom came up, she asked if I could go with her just to take pictures. I said sure. But when the night came, she came downstairs in her dress and said, "You're coming too, right?" I thought she meant to drop her off. She meant as her date. So I put on a suit, drove us there, stood on the sidelines while the other kids danced. But here's the crazy part. Nobody said a word. Not one mean comment. A few kids waved. The DJ gave her a shout out for her dress, and I cried in the bathroom. She had a great time, said it was the best night of her life. And when we got home, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Thank you for making me feel normal." I went to prom at 17. I thought that was special, but this was something else entirely. All right, so we're getting off to a very heartwarming, wholesome start today. Great story. Obviously, this absolutely made the daughter's night to have her dad accompany her and get a shout out from the DJ. That's what's supposed to happen. So really, really, really good to hear that she had such an incredible night. Snowbunny236 commented, "I would love if this story was real, but unfortunately you don't just show up at high school prom these days and get let in, especially since there are age limits." Also, hey everybody, my name is Brendan, and if you guys enjoy these true off my chest videos, it would be amazing, so cool if you liked the video or commented down below if you're listening to our podcast. Now then, our next story is, my 4-year-old called me daddy today. I'm not his dad. His real dad is my older brother. He's in jail for fraud. His mom, my brother's ex, was an addict who OD'd a year ago. I was 25 when CPS called me about a kid I barely knew. I could have said no, but I didn't. I picked him up the next day with a car seat still in the box. He's loud and stubborn and has night terrors. He won't eat vegetables and calls ketchup red sauce, but he also hugs me like he means it and says thank you when I brush his teeth. Today, while we were building Legos, he looked up and said, "You're the best, Daddy." I didn't correct him. I'm not his dad, I'm his uncle, but I'll take it. Every day, forever if I have to. He doesn't know what I gave up. The career change, the dating life, the plans I had. But when he calls me daddy, none of it matters. Well, the title here kind of threw me off because OP uses these possessives in order to describe the kid. My 4-year-old called me daddy, right? So that indicates that you've already kind of started to see this child as yours, and obviously they see you as their father, so just go with it. You know, it's more than just a blood tie, although you guys are related. Yeah, this is your kid. You're the dad. Trick Delivery 4609 commented, "You're his dad. I recommend therapy for him and start telling him now or soon in easy kid terms about his bio parents and you adopting him, etc. If you keep it a secret and he finds out later, it will devastate him. If you do it matter of fact now, it's way easier for kids to handle it." Our next story is, my 15-year-old idiot kid got his girlfriend pregnant on purpose. I, 30-year-old female, have a child who's a 15-year-old male. We'll call him Ollie, plus other children aged 2, 6, 9, and 11. As you can tell by my own age, I was a teen parent. I was lucky and we married at 18. Still married, healthy relationship, worked our way out of a very dire situation. Graduated, started a trade, etc. And we're comfortable, stable in all ways. This information is relevant. Ollie has been friends with this girl, we'll call her Bree, since he was 7 years old. Their family used to live in the same city as us and went to the same school, same friendship group. We know our parents are long-distance friends ourselves. Not close friends, but say hello when the kids are on a video chat, and had drinks together before. Bree's family moved to a very small town 3 states away due to rental affordability. No secret. We all have talked about the rising costs of everyday life. The cost of living in the city has risen, forcing many locals out. They moved because of that and for better job opportunities 18 months ago. Since then, Ollie has been begging for us to follow, giving us a sales pitch on cheaper housing, better paying jobs, none of which fit either of our professions, the whole works. We have said no because, well, no, but even if we wanted to, our other children are in school, sports, and have friends here. Selling and buying another house, finding work outside of our skills, or having to learn new skills, any normal adult would understand this. He does not. Well, fast forward to Christmas. Bree's family come back to our city for a holiday, and the kids met up multiple times with each other. It was my understanding that they were always with the other kids, but obviously not, since Bree is pregnant and I am certain it was on purpose. He has access to condoms. I don't care for opinions on that. My access was restricted and I had them. He's had hooked up Ed from me, my husband, in school. He knows dang well how babies are made and how not to have one. Ollie now wants me to move to be with her and the baby. It's confirmed. I've talked to her parents. And I said no, I don't feel I need a reason, but he asked. You're 15. We don't have any proof it's your child yet. I'm not moving us away from our lives, and you aren't going alone until you're 18. We'll do a DNA test, and then we'll look at parenting plans, and topped it off with a too bad, too sad. You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. He took that back to Bree, and now all communication between me and her parents has been cut. I'm a terrible person. My comments about the DNA test are disgusting, and it's fueling my son's hate for me. He says I'm keeping him from the love of his life and future baby, using my own successful relationship as proof it will work out. I actually don't even know if I'm right or not. I'm just really upset and feel like my life I worked really hard for has been destroyed. Edited for update. To answer some questions, she's due September, around the 22nd, so no, there's no option for abortion. I don't think that or adoption ever was. Ollie admitted it was on purpose last night. Apparently, it was Bree's idea first as a joke that turned into a plan together. Bree's parents will only pass messages through my son, and I've heard this for myself. I stood outside the door and listened to them tell him, "Tell your mother," insert info below, because I know I'll just go off on her about that bullcrap still. They're talking crap about me with my kid. They're appalled I would think that way of Bree when I've known her for more than half her life and do not wish to talk to me. I will not allow him to move out there alone. There are some past issues, such as Bree breaking up with him twice in the last 18 months because she found someone that she liked more in her new town, around August and October last year, same boy. And when it ended, she came back to Ollie. Bree is a nice girl, but her behavior is toxic and has been since a child. Her mother and stepfather are nice, but the relationship is unstable. The house is chaos, 9 children combined, blended family, and 2 to 3 teens with serious mental health struggles. He would be leaving stability for chaos and no structure. I want a DNA test. I will not budge on that. I'm close to cutting his contact totally at this point because they're only empowering him and reinforcing his behavior towards me and his father. His father is a man of few words, which is unhelpful. So far, he's backed everything I've said and only really chosen to say, "You have the intelligence of a pear." Update number 2, May 30th. Things have gone south even further. At this point, husband and I have been blocked on all social media and numbers blocked, but the communication with Ollie has continued. Ollie gave us Bree's parents' email address to send an email to, but before using that, I asked him to video chat Bree with me there, and then I could ask Bree to please get her parents so I can talk to them about this and tell her that if they were going to continue to refuse, then I would be blocking all contact to Ollie and communication until this is resolved. I told Ollie this before the call. At first, he flipped out, but it was this or I cut communication completely. I do think he understood that it's not okay that her parents are speaking to me through minors, and he said himself he would like us to talk to each other. Bree joined the call and hung up when she saw I too was there. Ollie called back a few times and she didn't answer. She asked via text why I wanted to talk to her, and Ollie told her that I wanted to speak to her mother, and if we didn't resolve the communication issue, then all contact would be ended until her parents made contact with us, and we make a plan for the next few months, including DNA, and then birth arrangements. Said that if the baby is his, we will travel there for the birth and first few weeks after. He told her that I personally think it probably is his baby, but I want to be sure and make sure everything is done right from the start. Well, Bree blocked him with a reply, and he's totally heartbroken, not eating, sitting in his room all day and night, not mad at me, surprisingly, very, very sorry for him and to us, sad about it all, and I think regretful. He even asked me if there was a way to undo it for himself. I haven't talked about signing over rights, a male abortion, his father called it, because I think he's just upset right now. A mutual friend of Bree and Ollie's here in our hometown showed him a few posts she made in the last 24 hours. Things like, "It's me and you against the world, baby girl," and memes about deadbeat dads. She also announced the pregnancy, which she hadn't done yet, and the post had some single mother facts and quotes. Ollie's friends knew about the situation, and a few were under the impression that he had dumped her and the baby, going by the post, but when he explained what had happened, they all rallied for him in the comments. I said not to, and now she's blocked them, and we can't see what she's posted. This is just a nightmare. I've had a plan personally, not set, but something I wanted to talk to her parents about, but I don't even want to waste my time at this point. Ollie gave us Bree's parents' email address to send an email to with said plan. Basically, Bree does DNA blood test. We will pay the full $1,500 for it. If it's his baby, we can book flights and plan to be there for the first month. I'll stay too with Ollie, maybe even the whole family, and then we can also work on a parenting plan and getting into mediation for a judge to sign off on it. Ollie's father and I split for the first 7 months of his life, so we've done this before and we know the process. But at this point, I think I'll just leave it to settle before sending an email. All aboard the Hot Mess Express. Boy, this is extremely sloppy, and of course, the first glaring thing is the age of the parents and the reason why they did this in the first place, but beyond that, it's just really turned into a bit of a dumpster fire, and I don't know what else to say except you reap what you sow, and I hate it for the children, I hate it for the baby, but, what can you honestly do in this situation? Terrible. Our next story is, my daughter just proved to me that she's definitely smarter than her age. Today, one of my daughter's parents had her 9th birthday party, and M, the friend's name, invited 12 people to the party in a restaurant. Obviously, we were late because Sophie, my 8-year-old adopted daughter, couldn't decide what dress was better. But the thing is that even if we arrived a bit late, we noticed that no one was there apart from M and her parents. But we didn't think much because, come on, we were only a few minutes late, and in fact, M and Sophie started talking, laughing, and running around. But as time passed, no one was arriving and no one said anything about being late or something like this. So 30 minutes passed by, then 1 hour, then another hour. When I asked M's mother, she was the one that organized the whole thing, when the others would arrive, she was just checking her phone and texting others and finally replied that she didn't know. I think M heard her mother because she asked her, "Mom, why is no one coming? Did I do something wrong?" Her mom started to get emotional, but reassured her that everything was fine and maybe a few couldn't make it, but as time was passing, no one came, and then M started asking again to her mother why no one was coming, and here comes Sophie. She asked me if we can invite M at our house to play with our dogs. I was taken aback because I wasn't expecting this, but I told her that it was okay, and M started to jump for joy because M too likes dogs, so no big deal for me. The thing is that when M's parents agreed, the mom started crying, asking why no one came if they all accepted yesterday, and asking why and how they should hurt a 9-year-old. I sincerely have no idea why no one came and why no one replied to the texts and calls or just came up with something, asked sorry or justified their absence. So while we were going home, Sophie asked me if she can invite her friends to our house, and I immediately accepted, but then asked her why she was doing this, and her reply made me realize what I said in the title. She replied, quote, "Because M was very sad that no one came and I want to make her happy and have a good birthday party." I mean, a very simple reply that made me understand how lucky I am to have such an emotionally smart daughter, and that my years of efforts were finally showing up. So I invited Sophie's friends, and surprisingly, a few of them came for real, so in total, there were 8. Once home, I arranged quickly some things with tables, drinks, and a few standard celebration decorations, and everything went well, fortunately. Em was happy, she enjoyed her day, they all had fun, eat, drink, and this is where Em's parents really thanked me for this, saying that I saved the day, and even if nothing went as they planned, they couldn't see Em sad and crying, but I just told them that a 9-year-old shouldn't deserve something like this, and that Sophie was the one that made this, and they thanked Sophie too. The main point is this. Sophie didn't take all this emotional intelligence from me for sure because I was diagnosed with my syndromes and issues. They're similar to autism. When I was 5 and until now, I'm struggling a lot to show emotions, recognize other people's emotions, and I don't understand sarcasm at all, so I'm not exactly made for this. But I wanted Sophie to be different from me and to be caring, understanding, and being there for family and friends. So as I said, finally, my years of teaching and sacrifices are paying off. I think even if I still don't understand why all these people didn't come if they accepted, how could they let an innocent girl suffer, and why? What did M do for this? Well, I will say that both mother and daughter here just have a heart of gold to understand that, this young girl was hurt and maybe feeling a little lonely, a little betrayed by her friends, and to just, make the most of the situation and really make her feel special on her birthday. So it's that kind of consideration. The world needs more people like this. Embarrassed Ad 7931 commented, "People are complicated. I don't know why the other kids didn't show. Maybe it was just due to the parents instead of them, but it does happen sometimes. It really does suck being let down, no matter what age you are. However, the important thing is that you've done an incredible job raising such a thoughtful, caring young girl, and hopefully that shows M that not everyone in the world will be like that, and situations can be resolved for the better. I'm sure she probably enjoyed her birthday more knowing your daughter was someone who really wanted to be there for her and did what she could to make it special. As someone who's autistic, I can relate to your feelings, but I definitely think you're more emotionally intelligent than you believe. You did your best to help out. You also picked up on your daughter's actions too, which shows so much. She clearly has definitely been raised with a lot of love, and she wants to give back to others with that. So I want to just say I'm super proud of you for doing an amazing job, so please give yourself some credit." Our next story is, "My brother's new girlfriend is everything my ex said I'd never be. My ex used to tell me I was too boring, too soft, too introverted to be interesting. He said I wasn't adventurous or sexy enough to keep someone like him. I believed it for a long time. We broke up 2 years ago. I never told anyone how mean he really was to me. Everyone just thought we grew apart. Fast forward to now. My older brother started dating someone new a few months ago, and last week he introduced her to our family. She's lovely, kind, quiet, loves puzzles, bakes when she's nervous. I instantly liked her. Here's the kicker. My ex is her ex too. Small world. She told me in passing that he used to call her boring. I just smiled and said, he really has a type, and we both laughed. But inside, I felt seen. Like, maybe it was never about us not being enough. Maybe it was always about him not knowing what enough looks like. Now, this is certainly a small world moment, but as they say, not everyone's gonna like you, but not everyone has good taste." Tryroot commented, "What a wild turn of events, but it solidifies that you're not the problem. He was just a wrong fit for you. Some people like to find kinder, quiet women in hopes there's something wild under the surface or that they can create that dream woman through manipulation. Keep being yourself. It's far better than becoming someone you're not." Our next story is, "My husband cheated on me on my birthday. May 20th was my birthday. I turned 32 years old. My husband first forgot about my birthday and then second spent my birthday with another woman, 23-year-old female. It's the first year he forgot my birthday and didn't get me anything. He was like, oops, it was an honest mistake. He's had a lot going on, like his mom dying, his sister quit her sobriety, his nephew is in juvie. It's been a crappy year, but that's no excuse on forgetting my birthday and cheating on me. He also said it's silly that I still make a big deal about my birthday because I'm too old to care about my birthday. He grabbed his wallet and gave me $50. Wow. As for the cheating, he said he was drunk, horny, and she was there. Wrong place, wrong time. I didn't sleep with him for 2 months, and the temptation got to him. When a pretty girl wants you to sleep with her and actually hits on you, you're gay if you don't do it. Really? Why would you say that to me? Why are you being this honest with me? I don't want to hear that. I'm in utter shock. My entire life just turned upside down all because of my husband. I've been thinking lately how it's insane that we trust our spouse so much and any second and they can betray us and waste 7 years of our life. We have a child together and this is going to crush him so much. He's so attached to his dad. Me personally, I am firmly team once a cheater, always a cheater, and once he breaches that trust, there's really no coming back from it. Even if you manage to reconcile for the sake of your child, that's always going to be there. You can't undo it. It's always going to be looming large, and what's to stop him from getting drunk and doing it again? So you've got to separate, and, hopefully in time your child will understand, but I hate that happened to you, OP. Full Dark No Stars commented, "Just end it. He's changed, and odds are it's permanent. My ex almost always forgot my birthday. The biggest birthday gift he gave me was a butt kicking. He hit me because he was ashamed he'd freaked up again and had to vent somehow. I was sitting alone in the house. We were separated and he dropped by, trying to keep me on the hook, though he had an affair bunny anxiously waiting for him at her place. His mother had called and left me a happy birthday message while I was at work. X walked in and saw me crying and asked what was wrong. I played his mother's message for him. I will say I believe he was honestly upset that he'd forgotten for the 14th year in a row. He kept saying he had remembered yesterday and the day before and was pacing around as he talked. I knew exactly who and what he was. He was ashamed of what crap he was to me, but not enough to change. Your husband bragged to you that he cheated. He rubbed your face in it. He thinks he's justified. I mean, she hit on him and he'd be stupid not to do it, right? Please, value yourself. You deserve better. Our next story is, my daughter thinks my ex-wife died. She didn't. When my daughter was 5, my ex-wife dropped her off for the weekend and never came back. No warning, no phone call, just gone. For a while, I told my daughter that mommy was away and that she'd call soon, but she didn't. A year passed, then 2, and every birthday and Christmas and kindergarten graduation, my daughter would ask if mommy was coming, and every time I'd say she's busy or she loves you very much, but I watched something in her dim over time. When she was 8, I finally told her mommy passed away. I couldn't stand the hope in her eyes anymore. I couldn't keep lying to her and watching her get crushed every time she thought a knock on the door might be her mom. She cried herself to sleep that night. I did too. The truth is, her mom lives in another state, has a new husband and a toddler. She sends me child support like clockwork, but hasn't asked about her daughter in over 4 years. I know lying was wrong, but it was either let her keep hoping for someone who didn't want her or give her closure, and I still don't know if I chose right. Listen, your intentions were honorable, but at the end of the day, you masked one lie with an even bigger one that eventually is going to come out, right? She's going to reach an age where she does her own research and comes to the realization that, you've been hiding this from her. So I'm not one to tell a parent how to parent their child, but in this situation, I think honesty and being forthcoming was probably the best option, but I understand why you did what you did. Grazzy Dad commented, "This is a tough one. It definitely solved a short-term problem while creating a larger long-term one. We live in a time of cheap genetic testing, where it will be fairly trivial for her to discover she has other relatives that might lead back to her mother. Her mother may want to re-establish contact at some point, which will seem truly shocking when it happens. I hope at the very least you can discuss this with her mom, so you're all on the same page to minimize damage to your daughter, which presumably is what you all want." Travel Lover added, "Seriously, what happens if mom does ever show up again or daughter finds out the truth? She will feel utterly betrayed by dad. He created way more possible issues down the road for a little peace now. OP, you need to consider therapy for you and your daughter and discuss with your therapist how to deal with the lie you told." Our next story is, "I've been substituting for elementary kids and I've never seen kids behave this way. Some classes are very sweet and you can tell their parents are involved in their lives. Last week, I was in a 2nd grade class and it was absolute mayhem. There were kids kicking the desk and throwing tantrums about losing in gym class to another group. 2 kids were physically fighting each other, and 1 kid was yelling at me to give him a goddamn coloring page. It sounds funny to me, but why is a 7 or 8-year-old saying that to an adult? It was 15 kids in one class. I would say only 5 of them weren't yelling or doing some crap. I never like to yell at kids. I hated that I had to. The gym teacher saw me walk out after, and she was like, 'I bet you've never seen a class like that before.' And I was like, heck no. Seriously, what even was that?" Just Nope the Freak Out posted, "My boyfriend's mom is a 4th grade teacher. Been a teacher for many years. She said kids just keep getting worse each year, and she's mentally exhausted from it. She said she used to love teaching, and now she wants to retire early due to kids being so awful." And Conscious Patroller posted, "My high school principal has been teaching for the past 35 years. He's a very cool dude, and we kept in touch after I graduated despite the age difference. This summer, he told me this school year would be his last. He was going to quit. I was surprised because he's working at a rather high-end private school where the pay is very good, and he's not that old yet. He explained that not only are kids getting worse at understanding practically every subject, studying, applying new knowledge and whatnot. They're becoming rude, hostile, and even physically dangerous to the staff as well. There's been cases where kids as young as 11 years old tried to throw hands with one of the teachers for not giving them a better grade. It's as if they're getting both stupider and more aggressive every year, he said, and we don't seem to be able to do anything to help them. Our next story is, I took the DNA test, and I regret it. My world has crumbled into pieces, and it's my own fault. My father died around 10 years ago of cancer. I never looked like him. In fact, if you had asked me whether we had anything in common, it would only be that we were one another's favorite human beings, and that our combined stubbornness could move mountains. But it bothered me. The fact that I would look in the mirror and go searching for his face and my features and found nothing. Anyway, recently I was talked into getting a DNA test. I decidedly do not look white, unlike both my parents, but just enough like my mother, that there was always the benefit of the doubt on whether anything was different about me. So I thought maybe getting it checked out would reveal something up higher in my ancestry. I'm very much my mom's twin, in all the ways I wasn't my dad's. In temper and looks, we're very much alike. I was just more tan. At least that's what I thought. But the DNA test I took revealed very clearly that I am indeed mixed. So I called my stepdad, whom I love and whom I'm glad my mom found after my dad passed. I was heated and angry, thinking I must be the product of an affair, but didn't want to confront my mother directly before I knew more information. That's when he told me that he once asked my mother about why I looked the way I did. And she told him she never checked, but that she thinks she once was drugged at a party in the place I now know I'm 50% from. My mother was assaulted and kept the baby because it fell into the time in which she was trying with my father to conceive. From what my stepdad told me, she holds on to the idea that I'm my dad's. The fact that she never tried to find out clearly speaks to the trauma. I'm sickened. I've not only lost the only connection to my dad, who people always said I wasn't like, I know a horrible thing about my mother, and I burden my stepfather with a secret that no one wants to keep from their partner. While I'm not suicidal, I wish I wasn't born. I wish my mom could have had the child she wanted. I wish my dad didn't have to raise a lie like me. All because I couldn't handle the comments I grew up with. All because I needed to know. I'm so ashamed. I should have known better. You know what, to this, I'm just going to quote Mewtwo from Pokemon the first movie. The circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It's what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. You're here, your family loves you, and that's all that matters. MNR14 commented, your dad was glad you were there. He almost certainly knew or suspected and didn't let it change how he felt about you. And that was more than enough for him. The trauma your mom has dealt with is not your fault, and it doesn't sound like she took it out on you either. Your feelings are obviously valid, but try to remember that your dad loved you. And OP replied to this, thank you. My mom and I do have a very complicated relationship, and there was a time after my dad passed where we floated giving me up to live in assisted living, but we persevered. I think some of her anger at me might genuinely stem from this, though I was also a horrible teenager after my dad passed. I didn't really know what to do with all the emotions I felt, but I certainly didn't want to burden her more. I love her so much, I would never wish to hurt her. It just sucks that means I can never have a conversation about this with her. But thank you for your words. I should remember this. Our next story is, I broke up with my girlfriend after she got a face tattoo. My girlfriend kept talking about a face tattoo. I didn't think she was serious. It's her first tattoo, and honestly, I didn't think she was going to do something stupid like that. She was out of town this weekend with her friends, and she ended up getting this face tattoo of a heart, like a teardrop tattoo on her right side of her face, but instead of a tear, it's a small heart. I broke up with her. I don't like face tattoos, and I do find her less attractive now. I don't want to bring her home to my family one day since I'm embarrassed of her. She's been blowing up my phone, calling me a jerk, and telling me I'm gonna regret dumping her. She calmed down and came to my apartment last night trying to have hooked up with me in hopes I would get back together with her. My roommate almost called the police on her. She's 22 and I'm 27. Dated for 1 year. I don't see any problem with this. You know, if she wants to get a face tattoo, that's her own business, but you expressed your, thinking that wasn't the best idea beforehand and she did it anyway. So yeah, you two just aren't compatible. You've dated for a year. Life goes on. You're in your 20s. You'll be okay. But yeah, I agree with dumping her here. Nutbagging Dildo Bean commented, Any tattoo artist willing to tattoo a 22-year-old woman's face as her first tattoo is a piece of crap. Full stop. No respected artist would ever. I realize that's beside the point of the post, but I'm always stunned when someone not only starts on the face, but that an artist would actually do that to someone. Awful. Dreadlock Princess X commented, "This, tattooing your face is a whole different level. Any decent artist would decline a face tattoo unless you're already pretty covered. Personally, my face tattoos are my favorite, but I have about 400 hours worth of ink now." Nutbagging Dildo Bean replied to this, "Absolutely nothing against face tattoos. Thanks for not taking offense. There was even a time that they wouldn't do hands as a first-time tattoo area, called job stoppers back then, but I see youth everywhere around me with hands and fingers inked up with bare arms, and it's such an odd place to begin a tattoo journey. It's unfortunate that a lot of people would rather save a few bucks and hit up someone's basement for $60 and end up with the shabbiest thing anyone's ever seen in such a high visibility area. Tattoos are forever, and laser removal is far more expensive and far more painful. Spend the money if it's going to be something that's on your body forever. I'm also full of ink, and many friends are artists. Cheers." Our next story is, what's your most throw my phone in the ocean moment? I accidentally sent my therapist a thirst trap meant for my sneaky link, and now she won't stop calling me brave. Look, I was feeling myself. Good lighting, sweatpants hanging just right. Meant to send it to someone who knows what to do with that kind of heat. Instead, I sent it to Dr. Ellis, my licensed mental health professional. She texted back, "I see a lot of progress in your confidence. Let's talk about this next session." I never wanted to teleport into the sun more. And yes, I showed up to the session. And yes, she had printed it. And yes, she called it empowering in front of her therapy dog. Please send thoughts and maybe new therapists. Well, I will say there are many, many worse people to send this to than your therapist. Someone that's probably not going to judge you and is basically sworn to confidentiality, so no one else will know except you just told everybody on Reddit. So those are the breaks. The Spiral Tap commented, "I ran into the grocery store real quick the other day while my wife stayed in the car. When I got out, I entered the wrong car. Dang, same color, same model. I sat down. There were people in it. Thankfully, they thought it was hilarious and didn't own a gun. My wife literally ticked on herself laughing and won't stop bringing it up. It's rough being brave, dog." And Prince Koo added, "My mother and I did that. We both got into the empty car, and when I went to start it, I noticed that the drink holder had a can of a drink I, nor anyone in my family, drinks. After a brief moment of, what's that doing in my car? We realized our mistake and quickly got out and found our car, 2 spaces over. Thankfully, nobody saw our mistake." Our next story is, "Ran into my ex's parents tonight, and now I can't stop thinking about him. I was walking home from class and decided to stop at this small cafe I used to go to all the time. It's a little out of the way, but something about today made me want to take the long route. Anyway, I go in to grab a tea, and I hear someone say my name. It was his mom. I hadn't seen her or his dad since the breakup. They looked surprised but genuinely happy to see me. They asked how I was doing, how school was going, and they told me they still talk about me sometimes. They said it's been weird not having me around and that they really missed me at the holidays. His dad even joked that no one makes better cookies than I did. It was so sweet and kind and just kind of devastating at the same time. We didn't end on good terms. He cheated. I found out through a friend, and when I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. Just said he got confused and didn't want to hurt me more by hiding it. It broke me for a while, and as much as I tried to move on, seeing his parents tonight brought it all back. They looked at me the way they used to, like I was still part of the family. And for a second, I forgot about everything and just smiled and laughed like nothing ever happened. Yeah, I will say this is probably one of the harder parts about breaking up. Obviously, splitting from the person that you're seeing, but also kind of the collateral damage, their friends, their family that you kind of have to sever ties with because of that association. So I can understand how that could stir up some feelings and emotions. Single Principal 972 commented, "I think we don't always realize it. After we split, we not only grieve the loss of our relationship, but we, those of us lucky enough to have a great relationship with the in-laws and family, also lose other people. I truly grieve the loss of all my in-laws. I loved these people who had been my family for so long. Seeing them stirred up good memories of time spent with people you loved. Don't let that confuse you. What happened with him has not changed. Permitting those good memories to rewrite the terrible things that ended your relationship will not be healthy for you. Cherish the memory of your bond with these people, then put it back on the shelf where it needs to stay. Hugs. Our next story is, my parents took me out of school in 2nd grade, and I'll never forgive them for what they took from me. When I was in 2nd grade, I was thriving. Teachers told my parents I was ahead of my grade in reading, in math, in everything. I was a bright kid with a future. I loved learning. I was doing well, and I was happy. Then they ripped it all away. They pulled me out of school and said they were going to homeschool me, but they didn't. Not really. What they did was lock me in a house and feed me religion. That's it. No math, no writing, no science, no guidance, nothing. I was 8 or 9 years old, and that was the last time I got a real education. From that point on, I wasn't allowed to leave the house alone. Not to go outside, not to meet friends, not even to walk around the block. I was only allowed out if I was with them, and even then, it was just to places like the grocery store. That was my entire life for almost a decade. I was completely cut off from the world. I didn't have friends. I didn't have school. I didn't even know how to talk to people my own age. All I had was the internet. I'd sit on Discord just listening to people talk and laugh and have fun, wishing I could join in, but too scared to speak. I didn't know how. I'd watch YouTubers hanging out with their friends, going to dinner, seeing movies, living normal lives, and I'd cry wondering what that felt like. We never went to restaurants, never had real celebrations, never made memories. I was just there, a kid trapped in a house, wasting away while the world passed me by. I used to think they were protecting me, that they loved me, that they were just strict because they cared, but now I know the truth. They didn't care, or if they did, they cared in the worst, most damaging way possible. They destroyed me. When I turned 18, I finally got a job. I started paying bills. I still lived in the house for a bit, but everything changed once I had money. Suddenly, I had a little freedom, but the damage was already done. Today, I make $29 an hour. I work hard, I'm trying to build a life, but I still struggle every single day. My brain is behind. I can't pick up on simple things at work sometimes, basic instructions, stuff other people get right away. Socially, I still feel like I'm faking it, like I'm copying other people just to get by, because I never got to learn those things when I was supposed to. Sometimes it feels like I don't even know who I am. It kills me. Every single day, I wonder who I could have been if they hadn't done this to me. I was smart, I was going somewhere, and they stopped me. They chose to stop me. I'm furious. I'll never forgive them. I'll never understand what the heck they were thinking. What was their plan? What did they think would happen? That I'd magically be okay after being locked away for over a decade? They stole my future. They stole my childhood, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life. Now I look at my newborn son and my hopefully one day to be wife, and I wonder if I'll ever be enough for them. She tells me I already am, that I'm more than enough, but deep down, I'm scared I'll never be able to give them the life they truly deserve. I know I'd never do to my son what was done to me. I'll make sure he knows how important education is. I just hope I can be the father he needs, but I'm scared I'll never live up to his expectations. Therapy, my friend, therapy, and I don't mean that in like a condescending way at all. I think that there's definitely some trauma that has been instilled in your heart that is now giving you these doubts. For the sake of the family that you're trying to build, I think that you really need to work on, suppressing these feelings and creating a better life and a better experience for your son and your wife growing up than you yourself experienced. At least you can pinpoint the causes and the effects of what happened, and, you will do better. You will. Bong Park replied, "All things considered, you're doing pretty well. They robbed you in the past, but they haven't stolen your future. I read a post today about an 83-year-old that went back and just graduated this spring. It's never too late, and you'd be surprised how many of us are just faking it socially or becoming more like their friends where you feel like a chameleon. It's normal, we all do it to an extent, and we meld ourselves with our social groups. It's the reason birds of a feather, and you're the company you keep around. If you're able to and feel comfortable, please find an outlet to share these insecurities and figure out constructive ways to challenge these unhelpful feelings. We all see you, and we're proud of what you've accomplished so far." And OP replied to this, "Thank you, this means a lot. The great news is my new job has great insurance, and I've just found out I got 1.5K in HSA. So I'll definitely be getting therapy so I can be the best version of myself for not only me, but both of them as well." Our next story is, people don't even realize how cruel they are to the homeless. Or maybe they do. It's dehumanizing. I'm currently homeless. I do my best to stay clean, keep myself together, and not be a burden to anyone. I do everything I can to keep myself clean and put together. I find showers when I can. I keep what clothes I have in as good a condition as possible. I don't panhandle, I don't loiter, I don't leave trash behind, I don't leave messes, I don't cause problems, I'm polite. I buy what I can, when I can, I'm just trying to survive. But the second people find out I'm homeless, or think I might be, everything changes. Gas stations and restaurants I've gone to for months suddenly tell me I can't use the bathroom. It's policy. Funny how that policy didn't exist before they noticed I came in regularly or saw me carrying a bag past the store one day. I've been treated like a regular customer, even welcomed until someone puts it together. I'm not allowed in anymore, not because of something I did, but because I came in too often and had a bag with me. That's it. That's all it takes to stop being seen as a customer and start being treated like a problem. I'm then just the homeless one, and suddenly not welcome. Store employees follow me around like I'm going to steal something. I carry my bag because it has everything I own in it. That doesn't mean I'm a thief. I've never stolen a thing. I only get what I can afford, but the way they look at me, suspicious, disgusted, like I'm something to be dealt with, they eye my bag like I'm about to steal something, even though I never have. I only ever pick up what I can pay for. It's humiliating. It's like I stop being a person in their eyes, and I notice the difference between how people treat me when they don't know me versus when they do. People who used to smile or say, "Have a good one," now act like I'm invisible, or worse, like I'm dangerous. I've seen people look at me with disgust, not anger, disgust. The kind you don't even realize is on your face, like I'm contagious, like I did something to deserve this. One time, a Jersey Mike's worker looked me in the eye and said, "You people aren't allowed in here." I just stood there stunned. I wasn't loud, I wasn't begging, I wasn't causing any problems. I was just trying to come in like anyone else, but because I had a bag and didn't look the part, I was treated like trash, like I'm not even part of the same world as everyone else. I'm still human. Being homeless doesn't make me dirty, worthless, or a threat. I'm just struggling, and it hurts more than people realize, because it's not just about lacking shelter, it's about being constantly reminded that, to most people, you don't matter once you fall through the cracks. You don't have to give me money. You don't have to offer help. I'm not asking for either, but basic decency, respect, a neutral look instead of one of disgust or suspicion, that costs nothing. I'm still a human. We're all still human. I'm trying. I won't be in this situation forever, and I pray that if anyone who's ever treated someone like me with cruelty ever finds themselves in my shoes, I pray people treat them more kindly than they treated me. I just needed to get that off my chest. Thanks for reading. Heartbreaking to hear, but thank you for sharing. I mean, this is basically just modern day prejudice, for lack of a better word. Like OP said, they're still human, they're just struggling, and they're making an honest attempt to turn their life around. So yeah, maybe you're not entitled to give them money or anything like that, but yeah, just basic human decency and respect. I think everyone deserves that, at least initially. Pine Train commented, "This made my heart hurt. I'm so sorry. When I was a child, my dad once went to this homeless man who absolutely was dirty. He was covered in mud and sleeping on cardboard. My dad, an engineer, jumped out of our truck, ran to the man and hugged him. In his clean suit, he handed the man a $100 bill, then got back into the truck and just drove. I was like 11 at the time, and then he said to me, my physics professor, a brilliant man whose brilliance drove him to the edge. Ever since then, unless someone is shouting at me in a scary way, I learned not to judge and that you should always go out of your way to help when you can. You never know someone's story, but I absolutely know people who think homeless equals drug addict." OP replied to this, "Your dad's action, running up and hugging that man, in his clean suit, with no hesitation or judgment, is the kind of quiet humanity I wish more people lived by. That kind of compassion sticks with you. I can tell it made a huge impact on you, and now it's made one on me, too." What he said afterward about his professor is powerful. It's such a reminder that we're not as far apart from each other as society tries to pretend. Homelessness isn't always about addiction or laziness or the things people like to believe to make themselves feel better. Sometimes it's just life unraveling, mental illness, bad luck, grief, trauma, systems that fail us, and even brilliant, kind, hard-working people can end up on the wrong side of stability. I know because I'm living it. I'm a good girl. I'm only 24. I've got letters from President Obama for volunteering over 1,000 hours a year, 5 years in a row. I've received awards and recognition from city council members and commissioners. I've always tried to be a good person, to help others, to show up, but I've had to leave home early, and without a support system, it didn't take long to fall behind. I really appreciate that you were raised with that kind of example, and that now, even years later, you're carrying that forward by not judging and speaking out against harmful assumptions people make. That kind of mindset matters. It honestly helps people like me feel a little more seen. So thank you, sincerely, not just for the empathy, but for still believing in humanity when so many choose not to. Our next story is, I'm glad someone gave me a stick of deodorant. So, growing up, my family wasn't the best off. We used to get free bags from my school of just canned goods, deodorant, toothbrushes, hairbrushes, shampoo, and conditioner growing up. They stopped giving these out in middle school, so we didn't exactly have toothbrushes and deodorant around very often. So, until my 8th grade year, a girl who was in all my classes went up to one of our teachers and said something about me, and when our teacher had addressed it, he did it to the whole class, so I, not being able to smell myself, thought he was talking about a boy in our class. A few more weeks go on, and this girl seems to follow me around for a bit, and then we had a winter choir concert, so we had to stay after school together. She's in the line up about 2 people ahead, and then gives me a stick of deodorant. God, I've had enough. Can you not smell yourself? I was a bit confused, but took it and put it on anyways and gave it back to her. Afterwards, one of my friends came up to me and gave me a stick of deodorant and told me to keep it. After my 8th grade year, I got a job and started getting a bunch of deodorants all at once to keep at least one on me a day. I still have just developed the toothbrushing because someone finally called me out for it, and it helped me make sure I would do it every day for about a year. If it wasn't for those people willing to call me out of my hygiene, I would have went down the drain. Well, I will say in this situation, at least the people that OP had to interact with every day had the decency to supply deodorant and toothpaste and not just say, yo, like you smell like butt, you know? Like, try to solve the problem, don't just complain about it. Solita commented, I made a comfort closet in college for students who didn't have any hygiene products. We had menstrual products, deodorant, hygiene, laundry detergent, free clothes, beanbag chairs. We did a prom dress drive. Everyone came in and left when they wanted. It was anonymous, so no worries there. I miss it so much. I'm so glad you're doing better, OP. Our next story is, she left the kids. How do I even explain that to them? I posted here maybe 10 months ago. At that point, me and my then girlfriend, who we shared kids aged 5 and 3, were stuck in a financial rut, and all I could think about was if I died, my life insurance would give them all a great life. The thoughts absolutely consumed my every waking moment. It was torture. It wasn't just me. My then girlfriend struggled with dark thoughts also. The pressure finally gave and the relationship crumbled. It wasn't a bad breakup. I think we both knew. She'd been really distant for a couple of days, and we were sat watching some time killer crap on YouTube. Asked her if she wanted to tell me what's on her mind. She told me she wanted to break up, and I agreed. She offered to take the sofa for the night and then asked me the following morning to be out by Friday. She gave me 3 days to move out, and considering our financial issues, I ended up in my car for a few days before a residential caravan came up luckily. I'm not sure how, but somehow I ended up in a better financial position than I had been. My bills increased and I was still paying the bills on the shared flat. I had the kids 4 days out of the 7 in the beginning: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. This was from mid-September to about the end of October. She couldn't cope with the kids, so the Tuesday became mine as well, all whilst I worked full-time and she was unemployed by choice. By the end of December, the kids were with me full-time. They saw their mum on an as and when basis. This went on for months, and now she's moved away. No idea how to explain it to them. They're now 6 and 4. They don't really ask for her. I'm lucky that in January, my eldest daughter, 16, came to live with me and brought her younger sister, 12, with her. I'm looking to foster the younger sister. It's been tough, but it's been so great. The younger two absolutely idolize the older two. The older two absolutely adore the younger two. It's been a balance, trying not to put too much on my eldest. She helps a lot, but I don't want there to be any pressure to help, you know? We move into a 4-bed house very shortly, which we're so lucky for. The whole thing, though, has made me realize that so much of what I used to stress about is pretty irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. I'm in a home that pretty much always has at least one of the kids laughing. Bad day at work? Gone the moment you walk through that door. I know I need to tell them she's gone soon, but I don't know how, and I'm scared I'll lose the laughter. I know I'm biased because they're my kids, but they're so sweet and kind and affectionate. Don't get me wrong, they listen as well as any other 6 and 3-year-old, but they're good kids. They will have so many questions that I can't answer, and it's not like she had to go, she left. Well, a couple things here. Number one, like you said, the laughter and the fact that your kids are well off and doing well, being happy, that should be sufficient enough. But also, when it comes to having that tough conversation, like you said, they don't really talk about her, ask about her. If they ask, then you just tell the truth about what happened. But I don't think that there's any need to rush that or have that conversation until they bring it up. Official author AJ Du commented, "This is an insanely difficult situation. Young children that are barely out of their toddler years aren't going to be able to understand or comprehend that their mother abandoned them. It might be best to wait a few more years until they're older to tell them the truth. If you can, I'd seek out some kind of family therapy. I know it's probably not the answer you're looking for, but I'm fairly sure it's going to end up being the consensus. It's hard to come up with an answer that won't end up with them resenting their mother or forming abandonment issues later on in life. But kids are often a lot stronger than we give them credit for, if given the proper help. Maybe turn to YouTube. I know there's a ton of people who have entire channels dedicated to helping people in your situation. Whether it'll help, I'm not sure." Delicate Dew commented, "Completely agree. OP's in an impossible situation, and rushing the explanation could do more harm than good. Waiting until the kids are a bit older and getting support through therapy sounds like the best move. OP's already doing so much right just by being present and loving. They'll feel that." Our next story is, "I think my mom regretted having kids, and it breaks my heart to admit it. My mom had 5 kids, 3 with one man, me and 2 siblings, and 2 more with another. Neither of the fathers were around. She raised all of us completely alone. She was never happy. She smoked constantly, worked exhausting, low-paying jobs, and was always stressed. She never had a partner who loved her, never had time for herself. She never really showed affection. I can't remember a single time she hugged me just because. I don't remember hearing, 'I love you.' She wasn't cruel, but there was a distance, like she was always holding her breath, waiting for life to ease up, and it never did. She died of a heart attack at 48. That's young, but in some ways I'm not surprised. She was worn out, physically, emotionally, mentally. Raising 5 kids alone without support, love, or rest, I think it just broke her down, bit by bit. And I think she regretted it. I don't think she ever said it, maybe not even to herself, but I could feel it in her silence, in her short temper, in the way she looked past us sometimes, like she was somewhere else entirely. I don't think we were what she wanted her life to be. I think she was trapped, and we were a part of that trap. I've carried that with me my whole life, the quiet sense that I wasn't really wanted, not as a person, just as a responsibility, a burden, something she had to survive. It hurts to say that out loud. She did her best, I know that, but her best wasn't very warm, and the older I get, the more I realize how deeply that shaped me, how it made me afraid to trust love, how it made me afraid of becoming her. I'm child-free for many reasons, but honestly, this is one of the biggest. I never want to become the version of my mother who died feeling empty, unseen, unloved, and unable to give love in return. I still miss her. I still wish her life had been different. I wish she'd had more joy, more support, and more freedom to choose her path. I wish she could have said, "I regret this," and still been loved anyway. I don't know what to do with all this, but I needed to say it. Yeah, this is sad, very sad, and unfortunate that, you're never going to get that closure. But again, I think therapy and venting about it, this is true off my chest after all. Sometimes just getting those thoughts out there into the ethos of the world, can help in the healing process. So certainly hope that you get their OP. Evantas7 commented, "My mother also had 5 kids, but we knew we were unwanted. She took every opportunity to let us know we had ruined her life. It only made my sisters and I closer. She died suddenly in 2014. She had basically alienated all of us by that time. All 4 of my sisters were absolutely devastated by her death. In fact, they've never fully recovered, and I had a different relationship with my mother than they did. I never went no contact, but I had no feelings for her and we hadn't spoken in months. I felt a huge sense of relief when she passed. She died in March, and the following Mother's Day, there was no anxiety, no stress, and the thought of having to call her to wish her a happy Mother's Day. My sisters and I all had children. When I was a teenager and a young adult, I really tried with my mother. After I had my son, my anger towards my mother grew, and I didn't understand how easy it was for her to go out of her way to be awful towards us. After a while, I only felt indifference. I'm certain if she were still alive, we'd have the same sort of relationship. I don't blame myself or feel bad for her choices. I love my sisters, and I think we only have the relationship we have, the closeness, because my mother was so horrible. Our next story is, my wife cheated on me. I feel like a toddler throwing a tantrum, asking my wife, why would you do this to me, to us, to our family? My wife didn't feel loved. She said I didn't do much. She said she cheated because she changed more diapers than I did. She cheated because she cooked more than I did. She cheated because she cleaned up more than I did. She woke up more nights to tend to our babies more than I did. She walked the dogs more than I did. My wife was a stay-at-home mom for about a year, and now she works part-time. I try my best. I work 48 hours a week. It's really hard to do everything at home when you work that much outside of the house compared to my wife's 4 hours a day at work. Our kids are 2 years old and 8 months old. I found most of this information from going through my wife's phone. My wife ended up cheating on me with a man she met at a children's group. She cheated on me with a single dad. She was immediately attracted to him because he was the only dad at the event. His wife died, and my wife was drawn to him being a devoted dad. He had the time to go to these events and be a dad and work at the same time because he has involved grandparents that help out a lot. My wife would go over to his house with our kids. I know everyone is going to ask, why didn't my kids say anything to me? Well, one of my kids are 8 months old and the other one is 2 years old. My 2-year-old has speech delay and he can only say 2 words. My kids are too small to understand what's going on. They don't automatically think, I see a different man and that means mommy is cheating. They don't understand any of that. Their memories don't work like that either. I'm sure my wife isn't blowing this guy in front of my kids, and she keeps it friendly when my wife is around the kids in front of this man. But this is how my wife and this guy are spending too much time together too. She also lies when she says she's going somewhere. She leaves the kids with me and goes out with her boyfriend. They text all the time. That's really what made me think something is going on. She was just on her phone so much. My wife says she's not sorry for cheating on me, and I deserved it by being such an absentee father. She says that my 2-year-old prefers mom and never goes to dad, and that's because my 2-year-old doesn't know me like that, and how the kids only know their mother, and I'm gonna just get stripped away my parental rights when she leaves me for her boyfriend, since that's the kind of state we live in too. She told me that she fell in love with the other man, and that's what hurts most out of all of this. Part of me wants to go to this guy's house and punch him in the face. Well, I will say she sounds like an absolute trash bag. Regardless of her reasons, you don't treat a spouse like that, you don't involve your children in something like that. So yeah, by all means, go to this guy's house and punch him in the face. Totally understand your frustrations, OP. Rude C3607 commented, she cheated because she can't keep promises and respect boundaries. She cheated because she could. There's no other reason. Alright everybody, that's all the time we got for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and comment down below. And if you want to check out any of our other videos, click the video on the right. Got nothing else for you. I will see you all next time.